Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Amateur Hour podcast. Deshaun once again is on the show. How's it going?
How you doing?
And in light of yesterday's blockbuster news, Taylor Hall has been traded to the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for Nicholas Merkley, Nate Schnarr, Kevin Ball, a conditional first-round pick for 2020, and a conditional third-round pick for 2021. In exchange, they got Taylor Hall, and they also got... Who'd they get in the trade?
The other player is Blake Spears.
They got him, and they also, the Devils, retained 50% of Taylor Hall's salary until the end of the season. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I think New Jersey did not do well with this trade. I think, Nicholas Merkley's all right. Nate Schnarr is, not tremendous. And Kevin Ball, same thing. That first round pick they're going to get for next year is likely now to be a pretty bad first round pick. Because Arizona, I think, going to do a lot better with Taylor Hall in their roster. What's your first impression of the trade? We're recording right after we got the news.
Okay.
What's your first impression?
When it comes to the trade, I think the fact that Adam Larson turned into all of this, because the trade for Adam Larson was 1-for-1.
I mean, you can look at it like that.
That's exactly what happened. I think that trade works out in their favor. When it comes to Taylor Hall and what he is, a former MVP, the guy who led them to the playoffs, this is awful. This is an embarrassing trade to come out with. I thought they'd get a lot more.
They got fleeced.
Yeah,
especially that there was a bidding war. They got fleeced.
Arizona has better players that they're able to trade that would have made more sense. You could have got an NHL player for your roster right now. If you're the Devils, I don't the guys that they have, Nick Merkley, he was drafted, I think, 3-4 years ago, and he's
2015 30th overall pick.
Yeah, he's not really showing any promise into making that next jump. I think he averages 1 point every 2 games in the AHL, as a forward. So, when you have that, when he comes up to the NHL, he's not going to be a superstar. He's not going to be Taylor Hall. And that's, you're trying to get as much value as you want back, but you eventually want a player or someone who could put forth close to what Taylor Hall brings.
Yeah, you need, when you're trading a guy as talented as Taylor Hall, you need a guy like a prospect. I get the Devils. Well, I mean, they were supposed to be good this year, but they need to restart the rebuild yet again. And you need a player who's going to excel into, almost franchise caliber player, a first line kind of guy, right? You didn't get that in this scenario.
It's got to be, he's either going to be along the lines of what you needed or what you need. For example, when Edmonton traded him, they needed defense. So that they're we have McDavid, we have Draisaitl up front. We don't really need Taylor Hall, which, they did for a couple of years, but they don't need him. But they did need the right-handed shot on defense. This trade it's tough. I don't know, maybe, they just couldn't get as much as they wanted because, Taylor Hall underperformed this year as New Jersey as a whole, the whole team has, and he was hurt all of last year, but
he isn't.
But I think he's worth
25 points in 30 games is not that bad.
I think it's the goal scoring. It's the goal scoring.
6 goals.
It's the goal scoring and the eye test. It's just
fair enough.
Taylor Hall,
I don't watch the Devils.
But they thought Taylor Hall would be closer to his MVP form that he had, which where he literally carried them. Won on a point streak. Taylor Hall a couple years ago was one of the best wingers in the NHL, and I don't think you can say that right now. I think he's a very exciting winger.
But it's also a lot down to, this personnel he's playing with, right?
Yeah. And I think Arizona doesn't believe that Taylor Hall's going to re-sign, so I think that this is why they gave up what they can.
But I feel like there had to have been other teams interested.
Montreal
and Colorado.
And I think Colorado, I personally thought he was getting traded to Colorado because I think it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, we did the episode on I don't know if you watched that one or listened to that one, but me, Nico, and Jack were pretty confident Colorado or Montreal. and then I said Nashville's an outsider.
But
we didn't see Arizona. We didn't even bring them up.
Colorado has the cap space. They have the talents. They look like they're win now. Like, I think Arizona's even if they finish first or second in their division, I don't see them really going anywhere. I think that they're a second round team
Arizona
at most. Yeah, Arizona. And I know they try hard and they play really well and they have a good system and their goalies are playing like way
Darcy
above.
is Vezina caliber.
Yeah, like they're playing way above the tier in which their goalies
Shout
actually
out
are.
LA Kings for trading him for nothing, by the way.
Exactly. Shout out to LA Kings also for cutting Kovalchuk today.
Big shout out. What I see from this trade, I see pieces you fit around a good roster. These aren't the players that are going to help you become a good team. Like Nicholas Merkley, realistically, will be second line next to a forward who's going to help him get like points. Like you need a scoring forward playing with him, right? Nate Schnarr is probably he's a big guy, probably playing fourth line center, third line center on a worse team. But if you're on a good team, he's probably fourth line. Yeah. Do you agree?
In and out of your lineup, I'd agree.
Kevin Ball, he's a bottom pairing kind of guy. Do you agree with that?
No,
you got a second liner, a fourth liner, and a third D man, like a third line D man, like this.
Well, and the thing with Ball is that he doesn't even get points. Like he's not an offensive defenseman. So he's literally a stay
and I know he's
guy, and defense would take.
I know he's a big guy.
Defense take forever to develop as well. So I think that's
he's huge. He was on a great Ottawa 67s team. I don't know. I don't see. I don't see where did we even say they retained 50% of Taylor Hall's salary?
Yeah.
That
doesn't make I don't know, that doesn't make sense.
He's not even getting paid a lot. He's making what, 6.3?
Yeah.
6 million? It is his cap hits 6 million.
So I don't know. And the thing for the Coyotes, I just didn't think they'd be the team because I don't think this improves either team beyond what they already were going to achieve.
Yeah, the Devils have not added players who can make them better. These are, like I said, these are pieces you fit around quality players. I don't think Nick Merkley is going to be he can be a second liner, but he's going to be playing with a good player beside him. So he can just be that off guy. You've got two stars and then the off guy.
And that's if he picks up his game and gets there. He hasn't even shown it in the AHL. It's been 4 years. You know what I mean? He's just not there for a first round prospect. And they're gonna have a similar situation this year. This year's draft, outside of the top 10 guys, is not a great draft when you look at the drafts of the decade, just in terms of talent. It's not there.
Top heavy. It's top heavy.
The prospects are not really there for the taking, and this Arizona pick is going to be anywhere from 20 to 25. I think personally. You're just not going to get someone who's going to change
It's not. It's past the halfway point. It's in the bottom 15.
Exactly. So it's just not someone where you're going to change your franchise with that player.
The condition on that pick, by the way, is it's top 3 protected. Am I correct?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. There's no point of making it conditional. Looking at from Arizona's perspective, you look at the line combinations, what they have probably. I mean, right now. Taylor Hall can play with Phil Kessel on the first line, but he can also be that second line guy, or he can move Phil Kessel to the second line and make Taylor Hall your guy on the first line. But looking at based on the team they have, this is a lot of depth players Arizona have, and they have overachieved 100% this season. Ekman Larson is never going to be the player he once was again. Going for the Norris almost 1 year. Darcy Kemper is, I don't think it's tremendously sustainable, this kind of play. I think he can still be a good goaltender, but I don't think he's going to be at Vezina level all season.
I agree.
I think this is their desperation. We're good this year. Let's see how far we can go, because they probably don't think they're going to be able to run it back with the roster they have next season. So they're first right now in the Pacific. I don't exactly recall where I had them finishing. I don't think I had them in the playoffs. When we did an NHL seeding episode, me, Nico, and Clarkson did one, And me and Nico were pretty adamant that they wouldn't be a playoff team. I think Clarkson had them in his top 3. But I've been talking to Nico, and he thinks that their ceiling is now a first wild card spot or third in their division. I think
Arizona?
Yeah.
I think they're first or second.
I think they're a 2 or 3. Because I think the Golden Knights been playing really well, and the Oilers, I think, will figure it out after losing 4 in a row. I think they're 2 or 3, but they're a playoff team now.
I think the only team that's going to finish above them is Calgary. The only team that has a chance in that division is Calgary.
You think Calgary's going to win that division?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Calgary.
Wow.
Yeah. It may be hot, but no, I mean
that is hot.
Calgary,
I get they're 8-1-1 their last 10, but
not even that. Just Calgary. They won the entire Western Conference last year, right? Calgary was the number 1 team. The exact same roster came back.
New coach.
Just obviously a way better human being at coach. And I think that Calgary will finally play like how I thought they would be playing the entire year. They don't have the Tampa Bay effect with them, so I think Calgary's number 1. And I think Arizona will be right there. And then I think you go Edmonton. And then I see Vegas in a wild card spot.
I like Arizona right now because their defense, they have, in terms of goals against, they are, I believe, second in the NHL. Only the Islanders have allowed 72 goals. The Coyotes have allowed 84 in their second. That just shows you how fuck the Islanders are, by the way. The Islanders have allowed the second least amount of goals, but they don't score a lot. They're bottom. They're near bottom for goals for. And obviously, adding Taylor Hall and losing none of your core, none of your players involved right now is huge because none of the 3 guys they traded are we're gonna play for them this season.
Absolutely.
Like between them, they have a combined 1 NHL game, which was Nick Merkley's 1 game. Was it last? Yeah, it was last season. They can improve, and I think that they are a playoff team now. I think, but in the playoffs, this isn't the kind of roster that goes deep.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see their ceiling is unless they
ceiling is second round.
That's what I'm saying, and I don't see them wheeling off a performance like they did in 2012, where they made to the conference finals. Like I don't see that happening.
They're likely going to be playing one of Golden Knights, Oilers, Flames, or Canucks. They're not winning any of those, in my opinion. Maybe the Canucks, but I would put my money on the Canucks winning that series. Barring injuries, of course, just looking at it from a healthy standpoint. I don't know. I don't see them. I can see them doing well. They're a regular season team, in my opinion. This is the kind of team that excels in the regular season, but you need those high caliber talents in the playoffs, I think. And you got Phil Kessel, who's got 2 rings, and you've got Taylor Hall, who's an MVP. But other than that, Ekman Larson, maybe if Darcy Kemmer can continue to play like a Vezina player.
I think that's absolutely fair. I just it's tough. I don't know what their ceiling is. I think it's second round, and I think the trade to me for them doesn't make that much sense.
I think it does. No, I think it makes sense for them.
Well, no, I mean, to go for it this year, I don't see Arizona going anywhere this year, and I think they'd have to be realistic in like, where are you going this year? Do you think Taylor Hall wins you a Stanley Cup? And I don't think he does. I think unless they believe that Taylor Hall is going to re-sign with them, I don't think that makes.
Listen, I don't think you can think that. I don't
you know what I mean. So that's why the trade doesn't make too much sense for me. I think
Arizona have a bit of cap.
The conditions on the 3rd round pick.
Oh wait, no, they don't. Arizona don't have the money to re-sign him. To be honest,
the Arizona pick, the conditions on the 3rd round pick, it becomes a first rounder if Hall re-signs or the Coyotes win a round.
Yeah, the playoffs this season.
That
3rd becomes a first rounder.
Yeah.
If they win a playoff series.
Yeah.
Or if Taylor Hall resigns.
Sorry, if one or the other happens, it's a 2nd round pick. If both happens, it's a 1st round pick. Those are the conditions.
Likely.
So if they win a round, it's a 2nd round pick in 2021. If he also resigns after they win a round.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then it's a 1st round pick.
Honestly.
And there's no conditions on that
if
pick.
If I'm betting, that's a 3rd round pick in 2021.
I agree with you.
That's not getting any better. Man, that just looks even worse for the Devils.
Yeah.
The Coyotes, their projected cap hit right now is second in the league.
To Toronto?
Yeah.
To Toronto's like $50,000 that they have in cap, where they can only pay me to play goalie.
Arizona don't have any cap space. And Taylor Hall on $6 million, who's a free agent, and he's going to have a lot of guys trying to get him. He's getting more than $6 million, I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
He's not taking a Pasternak or Nathan McKinnon deal, I don't think. Man, I don't know. The more I look at it, I mean, I guess for the Coyotes, like, to sum it up, sure, this is your season. Maybe you can break out, and why not see how far this guy can take you? But realistically, I mean, again, like, how good were these guys going to be for the Coyotes? Like, were they really going to be important?
No. I think that's an improvement overall, but I mean...
See what you can do. Remember, it's a small market team. You see what you can do and you can get that quality of player. I think if I had to make a decision on if I like it or not for the Coyotes, I like it because you didn't really give up anything. It's going to be a bad pick. These players won't do much for you anyway, and you're not really giving up much for the draft picks. And, see how far Taylor Hall can get you. Maybe he resigns, but you're not a big market team. This is the only way you're going to get a high-quality player like that. So, see how far you can go. New Jersey, I mean, they've been one of the biggest crisis clubs throughout the entire season. They've been one of the worst teams in the NHL, and it just got worse. I think they've made themselves worse for... They're going to be bad for a while.
I absolutely agree. I don't see New Jersey turn... Jack Hughes just wasn't the answer. Like, he just doesn't...
Can he be, though?
He doesn't look like a number one overall pick. Like, a number one overall pick is supposed to he's supposed to change your franchise around.
Yeah,
It's, for me, this decade, for example, like, the only number one picks that were worse are Yakupov and Hopkins. Like, I just...
Shout out Edmonton.
Yeah, shout out to Edmonton for having two of those guys.
Yeah, I'm looking at the New Jersey line combination.
Well, actually, Heischer too, because Heischer was I believe a first overall pick as well. So I mean, both of those guys. So 4 of the worst picks of this decade, same teams.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go through the decade of first overall picks. Jack Hughes, Rasmus Dahlin. Rasmus Dahlin's pretty good. Nico Heischer. Yeah, New Jersey don't draft well.
Yeah,
clearly.
So
Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, turn the franchise around. Connor McDavid
right away.
Connor McDavid, turn the franchise around.
Right
Aaron
away.
Ekblad has been instrumental in turning that franchise around. With Barkov, who got taken second to Nathan McKinnon the year before. I believe Barkov was second. Am I right? Yeah. Nathan McKinnon the year before. Look at that team now. Nail Yakupov, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Taylor Hall.
Yeah. So
Edmonton, New Jersey, don't know how to draft.
Yeah,
evidently.
Man,
because all these other guys, they get their guy and they all of a sudden they 180. But Edmonton, they had 4 first overall picks this decade. You know what's the most fucked up stat I saw last week? Boston are the only team in the NHL with 0 top 10 picks on their roster.
Yeah.
And Edmonton have 7. They have the most in the NHL.
I believe that.
Or is it Buffalo? I don't know.
No, I think
Boston have 0, which is insane. And you look at Edmonton have had 4 first overall picks this decade, and they're just now turning around because they have a absolute specimen in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. New Jersey, I see, they had a slight upward trend one year, but they're going back down the tubes.
So that's the thing. Like, New Jersey, like, this year, they're going to get another top 10 pick, 100%. Probably going to be top 5, top 3, maybe.
They can get somebody.
They're going to get a good player, but I mean, who do you draft if you're New Jersey? Do you draft a defenseman? Do you draft another center because they already have Heischer and Hughes? Like, if you draft another center in this draft, you're telling that guy, oh, you're going to be our 1 center or 2 center. And then the 2 guys you literally just drafted within the last 3 years, you're talking about.
Even if you get, like, Quinton Byfield is probably going to be the first overall pick as it looks right now. Shout out Sebri. he's a center. So what if you get that? What if you win the lottery and then
like you know what I mean?
You've drafted 2 centers first overall in the last 3 years, right?
What I'm saying.
You really want to make it 3? I don't know. This is New Jersey's a mess.
New Jersey's a huge mess. Every single player
it's only really, I mean, and they invested so much this summer. It's really only Detroit who looks worse in the NHL.
I agree.
Right now, I mean, maybe you could look at the Ducks,
Minnesota, but Detroit.
But I mean, Minnesota have some things going for them. Detroit, nothing. Detroit's the worst.
Got nothing going for them.
They're the worst offensive, worst defensive team. But looking at Arizona, let's wrap this one up. Arizona, I think this is good for them. Do what you can with a big market player that you can't normally get. See what happens. See if you can win the Pacific. See if you can ride out that defense all the way through and improve your offense, because your defense is second best in the NHL right now. Not that I see that maintaining, but I can see Arizona making the playoffs now in a top 3 in the Pacific. New Jersey, like I said, some alarm bells got to be ringing right now. How do you feel? Sum it up for us.
I agree. I like the trade for Arizona. I don't know how much it improves them. For New Jersey, I feel like they got fleeced for a guy of Taylor Hall's caliber. Their franchise is poverty. They don't get any better. By losing a guy like that and not really having any proper replacement for him. Maybe it's a bigger role for Jack, but I don't know. Maybe. And I don't think it improves their team. I don't think it helps them. So I think Arizona are the losers of the trade, and I think Arizona is the winner of the trade, and New Jersey is the big loser.
Big loser. But that wraps up this episode. Thank you to Sean for being on the episode. Once again, you're going to be seeing a lot of him or hearing a lot of him over the next few weeks while I'm in Mississauga for Christmas. But as usual, follow Amateur PDC, Twitter and Instagram. Let us know what you think about the trade, first of all. Also, you can give us episode suggestions. Subscribe on YouTube, Amateur Sports. Follow on Spotify, Amateur Sports. And as usual, keep coming back. Daily uploads.